Hello everyone. This is going to be a tutorial on how to do lighting for a scene in Godot. This is actually a continuation on the last video which I did, which was how to import a Blender object to Godot. But now that we have the object in here, we're going to do some basic lighting for the scene, and I'll just give you a quick rundown on how this works. So the first thing you want to do for this scene is you want to add a light source here, right? And you can do that very easily by just going to creating a new node and creating a directional light. Now we already have one here for this scene. And so what we're going to do is we're going to slide over to the shadow here and go ahead and enable it. What that does is it creates a shadow of the objects on the screen, as you can see here. And with our light, we can actually adjust the direction of the shadow quite easily with these little rings here and bring it up and down, kind of get a better look of what we're looking at. As well, we can actually increase the strength of the light, create it quite bright or quite dark, depending on how we like it. We'll keep about 1.5, kind of have a more of a bright scene. Let me drop it down a little bit more, about a 1.3. But that's basically the easy way to do a directional light. Following this, what you're going to want to do is add a GI probe. Now, how you add a GI probe is you go, same thing, create a new node, and you want to click on the GI probe. Um, so as we go here, GI probe, and we will create it. Now, as you can see here, is this giant box, and what we want to do is we want to include our whole scene in the side of this box here. Once we are fully inside of it, we will just go ahead and bake the GI probe here up the top. Now the GI probe is baked. Then what we want to do is you want to go to View, this gizmos here, and slide down to GI probe, so we don't have to look at that box the entire time. And as you can see, it basically makes our light look a little bit better in the scene. And you can do the same thing as we did with the light earlier. You can change these values to make it look different, a little bit darker, a little bit lighter. Um, you can just toy with a lot of these different settings, kind of get a more of an interior look, a little bit darker. But you can do it for any scene you want. Okay, so next what we're going to do is we're going to add the world environment. Um, so what you're going to do is go over, create another node, and it's going to be the world environment. And as you can see here, our world environment is empty. So we're going to create a new environment. Click on the environment itself. Go to background. We're going to change this to sky. And we're going to change our sky to new procedural sky. And that gets us a much more natural lighting, as you can kind of see here. But it still doesn't look, fantastic necessarily. So what we can do is start playing with these settings. So we can actually increase the energy as well, as it always with all the other scenes. But that's we like it at 1 as it is for now. The default, it looks okay. And the fog, we're not gonna mess with fog, but the tone map. So what we can do here is change the kind of the look of the scene. Do a couple different things. This aces probably looks the best of everything we have. Once we go to the tone map, we can go to the auto exposure as well, which you can either enable or disable. We'll just keep it disabled for this case here. Further down, the reflections down here. Now what this does is it kind of gives that marble floor look. So if you're like what I guess a castle or a palace or a treasure room would look like, you can kind of see these reflections. But being outside, we don't want that. We don't want that shiny look kind of going, even though we kind of already have it for this scene. Next, we can actually enable this as well, which kind of makes the shadows just a little bit more in depth. Just a good thing to have in general. We can increase the intensity of these too. Just get a little bit darker shadows. Just builds them up a little bit more. And kind of lastly, well, actually, we'll talk about this as well. You can actually enable this blur here, and what that does is it kind of blurs out the scene depending on how you look into it. The closer you are, obviously it's clear, but it blurs out things in the distance, which can give a cool effect if you want it. You can change that as well. If you just go over here to the distance, 25, kind of pushes it away, or when we're real close, we can get it real close. Can't really see anything, so you're right up on it. But we don't need to add that for our scene. And lastly, we'll talk about the glow. What the glow does is it, as you can see here, adds a glow to the objects in the scene. And you can check with these, kind of using the additive, the screen, the soft light, the blend modes, and then actually this one down here, which makes everything kind of inverted. So we can throw the soft light back on here, and probably decrease the intensity maybe a little bit more, maybe about 0.6. And you can kind of see the rock here shine and the tent. I mean, the scene's definitely bright. The lighting could definitely play with more. But for this tutorial, I just really wanted to show a quick overview of the lighting. Um, so you can definitely toy with all these settings yourself. But I hope this was helpful just to give a quick run through for those who have never done lighting a scene before, just to get your scene kind of going in the first place. So thanks for watching and hope this tutorial was able to help you.